This week on Between the Bowls show, we have Bill Johnson, Lucas, Protopapas and David Allen. Phil, it's over to you.
Welcome to Bowling Between the Bays, the show made by bowlers for bowlers on the Mornington Peninsula. Well, since our last show, many things have changed. Unfortunately, as we know, not all for the better. In our last show, we discussed the severity of the Delta strain and the prediction of numbers rising to the levels of our New South Wales neighbours. And as predicted by the soothsayers, our numbers did reach 1,000 a day COVID cases by the end of September. In fact, unfortunately, today, we even had 1,800 cases, the national record. Now, some would say that was caused by the many protests or even the recent illegal gatherings for the AFL Grand Final. COVID, it's clear, is going nowhere, and the only way out of the quicksand and getting back to some form of normality is for the community to get fully vaccinated. Accordingly, the state government set goals for first jabs and double jabs as incentives to lax restrictions and to open up sports, restaurants, and being able to visit loved ones and friends, to open up the state and let commerce and the economy become reactivated. As of today's recording of this show, the state is a smidge over 85% for first vaccinations and close to 60% for double. Finally, last week we got the news that the Greens could be opened up, albeit with some foggy interpretations of the rules and regulations as outlined by the state government. Now, Bowls Victoria did their best to get an understanding of the interpretations from the government in regards to bowls, and finally we hit the Greens wearing masks, playing on every second rink, restricting numbers based on households, and initially having no access to toilets. The later, thankfully, overturned. Some clubs on the peninsula made a stance that to enter their premises, you had to be fully vaccinated. And recently, the MPBR advised the clubs on the Mornington Peninsula that to play pennant this season, you must be fully vaccinated. Well, has this stance been well received? Have there been cries of a communist state and taking away people's right of choice? Well, to answer those questions and more, we have Billy Johnson, the President of the MPBR, as a guest to discuss COVID as it relates to bowls and pennant after this short break.
More and more people with a taste for quality are shopping at Eliza Meats. Kevin and his lean team pride themselves on the finest cuts, from juicy steaks and roasts to high-grade mince and sausages. And Eliza Meats are the gourmet specialists. Inquire about Eliza Meats Spitfire. Phone 9787 4473 for a mouth-watering meal fit for a king. It's all at Eliza Meats. See our sponsor Kevin at Eliza Meats, 112B Mount Eliza Way, a station sponsor.
Do you have TV antenna or reception issues? Need to wall mount your TV or want extra TV or data points? Then talk to TV Magic, Frankston and the Peninsula. TV Magic are your local TV and antenna specialists. We look after everything: TV, home theatre, satellite, plus all electrical work. Visit us at tvmagic.com.au or contact Clint for a free quote on 0484 395 555. TV Magic. We make all your TV problems disappear. A station sponsor.
Welcome back to Bowling Between the Bays, and as mentioned before our short break, we now have Mr. Billy Johnson, who is President of the MPBR. Welcome.
Thanks very much, Phil. Appreciate the chance to come on.
And as always, thank you very much for coming in. And somewhat, well, we won't say facing the music. You're not doing that. You're just actually coming up and bringing our viewers up to date with all new that is happening with the MPBR. And there have been a couple of issues, a couple of things that have gone out, and perhaps we can get some clarity as far as that's concerned. There certainly was the letter that did go out to the clubs, and that was definitely saying that unless you have had double jab or are fully vaccinated, you can't play pennant this coming season.
Yeah, that's exactly right, because we want the welfare of the majority of our players who want to be double jabbed, don't want to have to go and play with people that may have COVID because they won't get the jab. Before we sent the letter out, we did send a copy to Bowls Victoria, and they thought that was a great idea. So what they did, they've sent it on to every other region in the state. We've had people from other regions call us to see how it's going and what we're doing. So as Victoria said, Bowls Victoria said, we're probably a little bit of a guinea pig in doing it. It's been well received by the clubs. We have had a couple of issues with bowlers who don't want to get the jab. And look, we're not saying they have to get it. We're just saying if they don't get it, they can't play pennant. Because we believe that there's, well, I know of 5 clubs at the moment that have gone into no vax, no bowl.
Okay.
And there's no double vax, no bowl.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the way it goes. I mean, we've got to protect our bowlers. Otherwise, we'll be all coming down with COVID.
Well, I suppose we look at it that the people who are double vaccinated is the larger percentage of the bowlers by far. I know where I am at Karingal, for argument's sake, everyone that has come in to do some practice roll-ups have all been double vaccinated. So my understanding is it must be pretty well a huge percentage of the people are in fact double vaccinated.
Well, that's what we believe. We haven't had any, all the clubs are behind us. As I said, there's a couple of individuals who don't want to get the jab, and that's their choice. I don't have a problem with that. But my problem is trying to protect the people that have had the jab. And it's not the COVID that's going to get the people of our age down on the peninsula. We're probably 75% of our people are over 65, and they've got underlying issues that would affect them if they got COVID.
Yes. And
hence we've made the stance we've made. And look, everyone says it's not politically correct. I think it is. I think human rights, they talk about that, but what about my rights of not having to play with someone that's been jabbed?
That's
that
right.
hasn't been jabbed. I mean, there's a lot of ways to look at it.
And I know, having spoken to you earlier about this, the reason you brought the letter out as early as you did was in fact to enable people to be able to get the double jabs and be fully vaccinated when pennant starts.
Exactly. Yeah, that was the plan. And it's going to go for state games as well. It's not just going to be pennant. It's all state games. People have to be double jabbed to play state games as well.
Well, yeah. Imagine if you do play for Victoria and you're playing interstate, you're going to have to be double vaccinated.
Yeah. So,
and the question I would say is if you actually win our region, be it midweek or be it Saturday pennant, and then you go on and play the state championships, I would think my understanding would be you'd have to be fully vaccinated. Well, most likely.
I think it'll be made law well before that.
Yeah.
From what I'm hearing, probably within the next 3 weeks, the government may come down with some decision on what they're going to do. Let's hope so, to give us a bit of clarity. I mean, we don't want to be the bad guy, but we want to protect everybody.
Yeah.
But at the moment, some people see us as the bad guys, and we shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
So we'll wear that.
Well, I don't think that's just with bowls. I think it's across,
Yeah, it's life in general.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, we had some talks when you came on previously about the new format.
Yep.
Where it wasn't going to be 21 ends.
Yep.
And that you were looking at reducing the ends to 7 ends, but you would actually play 3. The opposition play against all their 3 ranks.
Yep.
So there was that talk. Can you tell us now, with the season, I believe, looking at hopefully starting on the 13th of November, what is the format that's taking?
Well, obviously we've gone down to 3 rings.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of talk out there about the seven. Well, I call it the Super Sevens. That was going to happen if we couldn't play until after Christmas and we could only have a 7-week season.
Yeah.
Some people got confused and thought we were going to try and bring it in. We're not trying to bring it in.
Yeah.
It'll be 21 ends straight through, normal pennant. We hope to start on the 13th of November.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, the 20th, we'll just push it all back a week.
Yeah.
And that'll finish about the 12th of March, I believe.
Okay. So the talk is really that if we do get a delay, say from the 13th, you'd really have to get close to it being everyone playing each other once for you really to probably look at bringing in the new format, if that was the case?
Oh, look, if we can start before Christmas, before middle of December or 5th of December, we'll play the 21 the full rounds of 21 in straight through.
Yeah.
The club's made it quite clear that's what they want to do, and we're not trying to bring in anything else. We're going to bring this in if we could only play 7 rounds. We thought it would have been a great way to trial it.
Yeah.
Most of the clubs agreed that that'd be okay to do, only if it was a 7-week competition.
Yeah.
And word as it gets out, it always gets changed, and things happen, and people say things, and it gets changed. But no, it was never in our minds to try and make it a 14 season, 20 Super Sevens as they call them. Yeah. No.
Well, I almost say, you're certainly looking at, doing some interesting things. And it's interesting that you say that Bowls Victoria send out your letter as far as the fully vaccinated, and I know for a fact that they're following very closely the new format as well. So, it's I believe a credit to you guys, whether it happens or it doesn't happen after consultation or trialling it, but at least you're trying to make the game more interesting and safer, I dare say.
Well, as it turns out, we've had calls from people in Ararat. You remember Hucky?
Yeah.
Well, he's up that way, and they're discussing about bringing it in. They like the idea so much they might bring it in before us.
Yeah.
Which would be great, because I think once it's played, I just really think people will take a shine to it. Okay. Look, we'll get it over the clubs over the next 12 months and see if we can start just a 1-year trial to see how it goes.
Yeah.
We got to do something with Pennant.
Maybe even just get 2 teams to, one weekend to, have a match in that format and see how it actually works and nut it out maybe. Give it a trial that way.
Well, over winter we hope to get 4 or 5 clubs together to do it.
Okay, good.
See how it goes.
All right. Look, before you go, I know at the delegates meeting there was a motion brought forward that all the state events, the rounds and the final weren't to be played at night time. Now, I would think, based on the fact that everything's being delayed, to fit that in, there may have to be some consideration to change that for this season.
For this season, yes, we have. We're disappointed we have to do it. We told them we wouldn't, all the delegates, but if we don't play 2 events at night, we don't play those 2 events.
Yeah.
So you would have no one representing us in the state, and we can't have that. So we're going to run the mixed pairs and the 2-bowl triples of a night time.
Okay.
It'll be a Thursday night starting at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Which gives 7 o'clock, 6:45 roll up, 7 o'clock start, gives more people time to get home, have a bit of tea, have a rest for 10 minutes if they're working, or an hour, and then come to bowls.
Yeah.
It won't be quite as much as a rush as it was last year.
So for you to do that, seeing it was a motion and it was carried, do you now have to bring in another motion? No, you have to do something.
No, we're just going to do it.
Yeah.
Because if we don't do it, we don't play it.
Yes.
So the people that don't want to play it, that's fine. They don't play.
They don't play.
But we've run out of weeks because of what's happened with COVID. The championships are on the 30th of March to the 8th of April. That's when, and we can't get all our games in that time.
Yeah, well, again, exceptional times, which means, I think everyone just has to be understanding that, we have to move and change to get things in. Delayed starting times, it may well be, who knows, there may be delays even in between and cancellations and things like that, so we just have to adjust.
Exactly.
So that's fine. All right, Bill, before you go, is there anything else that you would like to mention to our viewers, the bowlers on the Mornington Peninsula?
Look, just take care of each other. It's all about life, and if you care for each other and do the social distancing, do everything you have to do. If it gets into one of our clubs, it's just going to tear the club apart, and really we don't want that. So for those people that aren't vaccinated, look, if you want to bowl, see your club and bowl, but don't bowl with people that are vaccinated. Give us a chance. We've got our rights too. Okay. Look, there could be some exciting news coming up in the next week or two, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Maybe our next episode.
Well, hopefully by then I'll be able to say a bit more.
Terrific. Well, once again, Bill, thank you very much for coming in. We really appreciate you coming in, being the voice of the MPBR and bring us up to date and bring us, fixing any greyish areas that may have been out in the bowling community. So we really appreciate that. So thanks again, champ.
That's all right. Thanks, Phil. But we also appreciate it very much because it gives us a chance to set things straight. We all know bowlers sort of twist the truth at times, and if we can come in and just clear it up, and if anybody wants to give me a call and discuss anything, please do. Quite happy to take their call.
Well, I know you've been very approachable every time I phoned.
Yeah.
You know, you've either been eating dinner and finally get back to me, but no, you've been very good. You've been very good.
All right then. Thanks very much, Phil.
Thanks, champ. All right. We'll have another break. When we come back, we'll be having a interview with Lucas Protopapas from Bowls Australia, Bowls Victoria, and we'll be having a chat to him. I call him the smiling assassin. And also we'll give you a little bit of an interview we had with Dave Allen. So we'll give you some snippets of that. So back in a moment.
More and more people with a taste for quality are shopping at Eliza Meats. Kevin and his lean team pride themselves on the finest cuts, from juicy steaks and roasts to high-grade mince and sausages. And Eliza Meats are the gourmet specialists. Inquire about Eliza Meats Spit Hire. Phone 9787 4473 for a mouth-watering meal fit for a king. It's all at Eliza Meats. See our sponsor Kevin at Eliza Meats, 112B Mount Eliza Way, a station sponsor.
Do you have TV antenna or reception issues? Need to warm out your TV or want extra TV or data points? Then talk to TV Magic, Frankston and the Peninsula. TV Magic are your local TV and antenna specialists. We look after everything: TV, home theatre, satellite, plus all electrical work. Visit us at tvmagic.com.au or contact Clint for a free quote on 0484 395 555. TV Magic. We make all your TV problems disappear. A station sponsor.
Welcome back to Bowling Between the Bays, the show made by bowlers for bowlers on the Morning Peninsula. And as mentioned before we went to that last break, we are interviewing, and we do have online, the smiling assassin, as I nicknamed him. That's right. Show us those pearly whites, Lucas. That's the boy, Lucas Protopapas. Did I get that right yet again?
That's it. Very good.
Very good at it.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, it does. And are you working for Bowls Australia and Bowls Victoria? Is it sort of a joint role, is it?
Sorry, my shirt's not really focusing in, but yes, I am. I'm working. I am working for Bowls Australia as we are talking.
Yes.
So it is keeping me quite busy.
Good.
Hopefully, if Jimmy's listening, hopefully I'm back at Bowls Vic when the Metro pennant goes back. But that's, providing everything goes well here in Melbourne. So, yeah, well, I'm not quite 100% sure what's happening there yet, but we'll see.
So I see in the background there, you're hugging Karen Murphy, and, it looks, he's a lovely lady, of course. So I don't have anything quite as good as that. I just have a green background, mate, but there you go. Trust you.
I only just found it today, actually. We had a Zoom call with Bowls Australia like we do every Friday, and came across, I thought, Carla Krasanik wanted me to put a photo on her, and I thought, all right, I'll try. Yeah. And then I was scrolling down and I found a photo of me and Karen hugging. So I thought, that would do. So
I think you're showboating a bit, mate, because you're only showing her back and you get your face. So, Anyway, down to business. Why I got you on the show is because we did have a conversation at one time, and I know I was actually asking you about how do clubs, when they have competitions, actually make them ranked competitions. And I think I was talking down at Warrnambool maybe to you, where I know you're entering all the data down there for Jimmy for that competition. So perhaps, I thought this might be some interesting information that clubs on the peninsula, when they do have their competitions, can actually get more competitors and add some interest to their competitions by actually making them ranked. So how do you go about it? How do you end up getting your tournament that you might have, once a year, it's your main tournament, or even other tournaments? What are the qualifications and what do you have to do to make that competition a ranked one?
So that was a long question.
I know.
So no, you're right. So what you have to do is the club's got to have a big tournament that the price range is got to be over $3,000 or more.
Yep.
It's got to be open to everyone to play in, but it can be just men or it can be just
ladies,
women, but you can't have any ladies. You can't have, you can't exclude the Premier League players, so you have to open it all together, so you can have a Division 6 team put in and a Division Premier League team in. So you're not excluding everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have $3,000 in prize money.
Sorry, Lucas, that's your prize money. That's in total, or is
total
that
prize?
just
Total prize money. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it can be stretched between however way you want to do it. I was just trying to think of one in your area. Somerville, they've got one coming up in October.
Mm-hmm.
So they're actually on board. Which unfortunately I just heard this week that they're going to be postponing it. But but that's a tournament that is going to be ranked. Just hoping to spread the word out more. The more what the rankings thing is all about, Phil, is trying to become the number one female or the number one male bowler of the year at the end of the season, at the end of the ranking season.
Yes.
You could win yourselves $2,000 in prize money.
Okay. I mean, look, $3,000 is very achievable. So if you're looking at total prize money, there's no doubt about it that there are some players, some very good players, who actually follow the ranking tournaments. And so what you do is get some very high quality bowlers. Now, the upside of that is that you other competitors get to play against, or have the opportunity to play against, some really great bowlers, and what a wonderful experience that is. And as you just mentioned, those bowlers are actually trying to get those ranking points to go as high as they can. I mean, it's a little bit of a feather in your cap if you can say that you are the number one ranked bowler in Victoria, or even get in the top 10 of Australia.
Yeah.
So tell me, who does the club contact to make it into a ranking tournament?
Yeah. So what you have to do is you go onto the Bowls Australia website, which is bowls.com.au, and you go into events, which will go into, if you click into that, it will go into rankings.
Yep.
It will come up with rankings calendar, but you just need to click into the rankings itself.
Yep.
And if you click into that, you scroll down on, and it will say register your event. You click into that and you just follow the prompts down.
Yes.
Your RBMs will know how to do that as well. So if they can't help you, then they might handball it over to me and I can help them out as well. But mainly the RBMs can do that. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right.
But we want you guys to do it as the club to do it instead of relying on us.
Well, I suppose the reality is you do it once, you learn, and then you should be able to do it, from then on anyway. So that's
correct.
So that'll be fine. All right. So clubs out there that want to add some interest, make it basically into a ranking tournament. It'd certainly be a benefit to your club and also to the tournament as well. In fact, if you have a particularly good one once a year and you do that, it gains a reputation, and then people will actually look for it as far as the tournament is and put it into their diary and make sure they attend, which is fantastic. Great. So that was really good news. And look, before you go, Lucas, I can't help but noticing that you're just in social media everywhere. I look. I mean, you're being interviewed at Bowls Australia, and the latest thing I saw is that you had something to do with September. Is that right? Can you tell me what that was all about? I mean, from what I saw, you had quite a few people also join you in that quest.
Yeah, I did, Phil. So me and my colleagues at Bowls Australia and a bit of Bowls Victoria, we got together and we all wanted to do something physical through our lockdown. Anyway, one of our staff members said, I'm going to be doing September through this lockdown. And I went up to her, and her name was Leah Lazaro. And I went up to her and I said, what about if we can all do it as a collective? And she said, yeah, what a great idea. So, we did that last year and raised, I think it was about $10,000 as a whole. And then this year it went from about, 20, it could be 30 people to 65 people this year, which was really good, for everyone in Bowls Australia. So it was good to see that so many people got involved, and you're raising money for awareness for people living with cerebral palsy. So which is obviously me.
And if you let people know, the idea is that you're trying to do 10,000 steps a day. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So your goal is to get $300,000 steps for the whole of September. So your average is 10,000 for 30 days in September. So
fantastic.
Yeah. And I got 364,000 last year, and this year I got 400,000. Yeah.
You had more time where you're doing absolutely donuts, aren't you? So you should have been out there walking, mate.
Yeah. Tell me, it was good to get it back on the greens.
Tell me, did Jimmy Whitehead get involved in that?
No, he didn't.
Okay,
he didn't.
So
apparently he got himself an injury last year. This year. Sorry.
Yeah, it's called a heartstring, and don't worry, we'll name and shame him for next year for you, Lucas.
Hey, I don't want to be too mean on Jimmy because I might not get a job next year at Bowls Victoria. So I thought
work out which
I better keep on the good side of him.
Well, Lucas, as always, Lucas, thank you very much for coming on board. We really appreciate to see the smiling assassin, Mr. Lucas Protopapas, the man who gets to cuddle Murphy and all the really good bowlers. So congratulations to you. Thanks very much, champion. Really, really appreciate it, and hope to see you soon at some competitions, as we always do, my friend.
Sounds good, Phil. Sounds good. And also, if I can quickly just add, if the clubs do go involved in wanting to put a ranking tournament in, it does say players. We haven't really highlighted that properly. It just means that we need a contact also who's going to be the responsible one to put the results in. And also, if you're thinking that you're going to put a tournament in, thinking you're going to postpone it, you need to let us know so we can hold your money for you for next year. But yeah, been a lot kind of like that for this year using COVID.
Sorry, just quickly before you go, there is a fee to make it a ranking comp, isn't it? So
yes, correct. Yeah, there's it's $63 that the club's got to pay for.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the fee that you pay. And obviously, if the tournament doesn't go on, then we're happy enough to hold the money for you, and you can let us know when the new date's coming. But yeah, and also we can refund it.
All right. So a small amount of money. Make sure you have $3,000 minimum as your prize money, and go for it. Thanks, Lucas. Really appreciate your time, my friend.
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Good to see you, champ. Okay.
Good to see you too. Take care of yourself.
Do you have TV antenna or reception issues? Need to warm out your TV or want extra TV or data points? Then talk to TV Magic, Frankston and the Peninsula. TV Magic are your local TV and antenna specialists. We look after everything: TV, home theatre, satellite, plus all electrical work. Visit us at tvmagic.com.au or contact Clint for a free quote on 0484 395 555. TV Magic. We make all your TV problems disappear. A station sponsor.
Welcome back to Bowling Between the Bays, the show made by bowlers for bowlers on the Mornington Peninsula. And as mentioned before we went to a break, we now have on our show Mr. David Allen, who is the chairman of the Karingal Bowling Club, as we know, but of course we need to look outside of our boundaries of the Mornington Peninsula. And I know, Dave, we've had quite a few discussions that many people aren't even knowing what's happening in other states, yet alone what's happening around the world. And David is the editor-in-chief of Inside Bowls, which is the #1, the largest bowling magazine in the world. So welcome, David. Thank you very much for coming on our show.
Thanks, Philip. It's nice to be back at the old address.
Yes, it is. Well, I want to initially talk about, because we've been noticing that those of you who are getting a little bit stir crazy have a tendency to be looking on Facebook and the various links that then link through to different championships. And there has been the English Nationals, which is probably just finished, I believe, if that's the case.
Finished on Sunday night our time.
Okay. And that by all means seemed to be a very successful competition or competitions.
Well, I think it's the oldest running championship event in the world. It's been going for about 103 years. And they do a host of events, anything you can think of, even, family pairs and mother and daughter pairs and all sorts of things, which is great. But this year, despite all of that history, they gave it a revamp. For instance, they had grandstands, even though Royal Leamington Spa or Victoria Park, which is where the Commonwealth Games will be next year, is a massive expanse. They actually put in grandstands, and for the first time in 103 years, they charged an admission price. I think it was £1 a day.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, Philip, there was some pushback to that. But they, from what I can see, they had a lot of features. They had a terrific display of David Bryant memorabilia. And there was only one piece missing.
Oh, no.
Philip.
The one in your office. The one that's in my office at Karingal.
Philip has a framed David Bryant pipe. It's yay big by this.
Well, it's a shirt and it has a pipe that he
suspended in it.
Yes, correct.
And that's the only thing that was missing from the whole show. So they had a special tribute to him. They had some wonderful bowls on at Leamington Spa.
I saw one, which was two sisters who played in it.
Yeah, Lucy and Katie Smith.
The last bowl, didn't it?
They needed 3 on the last end and they got 4 with a conversion with the very last bowl. Yeah.
And I have to tell you, having watched it, it wasn't that easy to do, because there seemed to be, I don't know, the line wasn't exactly totally easy from what I could see. And about what speed do you think it was running?
Or just into double digits, I'd reckon, maybe 12, 11.
Yeah, no, I saw some of the mixed pairs playing, and the ladies were almost, throwing the bowls down.
But, they all get used to it, and that's where they play.
Yeah. There was still a good turn on it, though. Still good turn at the end, I felt. So.
Yeah. I mean, talking about I don't know whether you noticed how they don't actually mark out the greens. Did you notice that? They don't mark the greens?
Yeah, no, it was a comment that I had here for everyone. So everyone to realise is that they don't actually, have the centre line or the sidelines as we do. They just have the number and a line or coloured metal, I suppose, going vertically down the back wall. And they literally put the mat down where they think it should go, and people down
the guy up the other end
tells them, and they'll throw the jack down, and they'll do exactly the same.
And it's equally as efficient. The interesting thing with that, Philip, is in senior leagues, which is like our pennant, if Mount Eliza was playing Hastings, there would be a neutral umpire, maybe someone from City of Frankston, for instance, and they turn up and what they call dress the green. So they walk down and put the markers. That's rink 1 and that's rink 2, so that there can be no.
Wow, really?
No larrikin stuff happening. And that works because they just say, well, there's the rink number. So, and the only other additive, of course, is the 2 metre stick.
Yes,
it's the only measuring implement.
I was fascinated that. So, sort of the end of the line, the T, if you like, the 2 metre mark. They don't have that either. So each rink at each end has a 2 metre white stick, and they literally run that from the ditch out to work out whether the jack is where the jack would go. So I was fascinated with that as well.
And it works just fine. So, so they had some wonderful, but you would have seen some on live streaming and some great results. So we had a situation where 2 people, both international, Sam Tolchard from down at Torquay, he won the 4-wood singles and the 2-wood singles. And the girl, Stephanie Branfield from Clevedon, which is David Bryant's club, she did the same thing, won both the 4-bowl and the 2-bowl. Wow. They say wood, but they do. And she was a finalist in the Champion of Champions too. So she's put in a big play to try and get in the Commonwealth Games too.
Yeah, there certainly seemed to be a few younger players that were certainly, at the pointy end of the competitions. And I know you were telling me there were actually 29 events.
Yeah.
So and how many days did it go over?
15 days.
15 days. There you go. So that's quite amazing.
You can read all about that in insidebowls.com, Philip.
Yeah, and that's
not giving us a free plug at all. But.
No, but it's free for people to do that. I know you very kindly put it out on social media so people can look at it. And there's a really wide cross section. You cover a lot of areas. I know there's a bit of Asia on that. I know our friend Phil out at Norfolk Island. He's always got the back page section there all the time.
He's prolific.
I see his wife did very well yet again.
I think she's the only female bowler on the island, from what I can read. He certainly takes some stick about that, I have to.
Oh, well, he knows which side his bread's buttered. I'll say that for him. That's fine. Now, David, back in Australia, I've noticed too that there's been obviously Stevie Glasson stood down, and we've got a new head coach, Gary Willis, who had been the assistant, I think, for somewhat 6 or 7 years,
Yeah.
roughly, having read your article. It sounds as though I'm very knowledgeable, but of course I've read the articles in your in the magazine, so I sound very good, don't I? I did read from that Karen Murphy now has taken a position as well. Is that correct?
She's the deputy head of high performance, or whatever you call it, which in effect is the ladies' coach.
Okay.
An interesting thing about that just is that Karen Murphy and Gary Willis were each other's first boyfriend and girlfriend,
Really?
way back when.
Oh, wow.
So they're back together again. With a few litres have gone down the Parramatta River since then.
That's for sure. I also noticed though that Rebecca Van Ash, she's actually been appointed the high performance manager. And of course, she was the CEO of Bowls Tasmania.
Yeah.
Yeah, and is currently still a Jackaroo, obviously, as well.
I think she is possibly the best all-round lady player. See, now Jo Edwards is retired. She's probably the best all-round player on the planet.
Yes. That's
playing international bowls. I mean, Jo Edwards is still blitzing in New Zealand when she plays.
Yeah.
And she's going to play in the BPL, and she's going to play in the UBC series if it ever gets resuscitated, which I'm sure it will. And I urge people, when it's on Deer Park in April, whatever you do, go and see it. It's Beck Van Ash, little Chloe Stewart, who you've met, she's blitzing, and she's just left Tweed Heads. She's got offered a promotions job with a company that sells products for sun and stuff like that.
Like the sleeves,
and all that sort of stuff.
The sleeves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it certainly appears that as bowls becomes more acknowledged and more out there, that it certainly appears that the jobs as far as the elite certainly seem to be appearing, and they seem to be doing fairly well at it, which is good.
Yeah. And I'll tell there's a very heartwarming story about local talent at the moment. Dandenong were romancing Ray Pearce,
really?
The Australian player. And that didn't eventuate, so they appointed Brett Jago.
Yes.
He's the coach of the Dandenong club, and I think that's fantastic because he's a really good guy.
He is.
And he has got a fantastic bowls brain.
And he's our local bank manager.
He's a good player, and he's our bank manager too. I was up there grovelling in his office today, to be honest.
Were you? Oh. But no,
that's a terrific appointment.
Yeah, that's lovely too. I saw it, but also Rod Pedersen was yeah, he's actually in there helping and assisting as well. Yeah. So there you go. And another ex-Karingal.
Well, see, both of those guys are Danny Simmons devotees.
Yes.
They both come under his spell. I mean, Danny's a wonderful guy, and it's easy to become besotted with the way he talks and thinks about bowls. He's got it. Well, he was national coach of Thailand last year. I mean, exactly. He's got it all. He's fantastic.
All right.
No, I wish there was more, Philip, but as you know.
Well, thank you very much. I know it was very short notice to get you on, but it's always good to get some news outside the borders. And we've certainly been able to talk a little bit about Bowls Australia and some of the new appointments. And certainly we've been talking about outside the borders in England and a few other areas as well. And anyone who's certainly should be interested in that sort of information, inside bowls. And what is the website yet again, David?
It's insidebowls.com. I just happen to remember it. It's
insidebowls.com. You should remember it, and I'm sure Peter will put something across the screen so everyone can see it. And that comes out monthly. I know David locks himself away for a couple of weeks each month He's virtually non-contactable. He's got his head down doing all the work and finalising that as editor-in-chief. So he's a very busy man.
Good to see you guys. Good to see you, Pete.
Great to see you. I've been quite pleased. We'll have the photo over myself. So, no, it's fantastic to have you on, Dave. And looking forward to the year.
Okay, Philip, don't be late for work tomorrow morning.
Good day. Thanks.
Later, guys.
David. See you later.
All the best.
Goodbye.
See ya.